On Christmas Eve, I brought my mother a gift from my first paycheck, but she handed it to my stepbrother and said he deserved it more. And in that moment I realized I was no longer part of her heart. I was 17 when my mother chose him over me for the first time. Not the last time, the first. Christmas Eve 2019, snow falling outside our split-level house in Ohio. I'd been working at Target for 3 months, saving every penny from my $9.50 an hour job. My first real paycheck. My first chance to show mom I was growing, becoming the man she could be proud of. The gift was a silk scarf, navy blue with gold threads that felt like $8.80-90 when you're counting every quarter for gas money. I wrapped it, hands shaking with excitement. This was it. This was my moment to matter. Mom, I got something special, I said, holding out the small box. She was in the kitchen with Derek, my stepbrother. 2 years younger than me but somehow always the favorite since Dad married his mom when I was 12. Derek was unwrapping his third present of the morning while I'd gotten a Target gift card and a, maybe later. When I asked about the PlayStation I'd been hinting at for months, Mom took my box without looking at me, opened it while laughing at something Derek said about his new gaming headset. Her face lit when she saw the scarf. Oh, this is beautiful, she said, holding it to the light. My chest swelled. Finally I'd done something right. Then she turned to Derek. Honey, doesn't this match that navy blazer got for winter formal? I watched my mother take my gift, my 3 months of saving, my desperate attempt to buy her love and hand it to the golden boy who already had everything. Derek deserves nice things for his formal, she said, not even looking at me. He's been working so hard at school. Derek was failing 2 classes. I had a 3.8 GPA and worked 20 hours a week. Thanks, Mom, Derek said, wrapping my scarf around his neck. This is perfect. I stood there watching my stepbrother model the gift I'd bought for my mother, watching her beam at him like he cured cancer instead of just existing in her presence. That's when it hit me, the truth I'd been avoiding for 5 years. I wasn't her son anymore. I was just the kid who happened to live in her house. The kid she fed out of obligation, not love. The kid whose achievements meant nothing because they came from me instead of him. The kid who could work himself to trying to earn what Derek got for free just by breathing. Something broke inside me that morning. Not just my heart. My entire belief system about fairness, about family, about earning love through good behavior. If being good meant nothing, why be good at all? That question would everything I touched for the next 6 years. But here's the thing nobody tells about family betrayal. It doesn't just in that moment. It rewires brain. It teaches that love is conditional, that always one mistake away from being replaced, that everyone trust will eventually choose someone else over. It teaches to them before I started dating Emma 3 months later. Sweet, trusting Emma from my AP English class. Emma who believed in forever and wrote me little notes that said things like, "We're my whole world," in purple gel pen. Emma who deserved so much better than what I was about to become. I should have worked on first. Should have dealt with the mom planted in me. Should have learned that not everyone would abandon me the way she did. Instead I decided to prove that love was a lie by destroying the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if my own mother could throw me away that easily, what chance did anyone else have of sticking around? I was 18, angry and convinced I was unlovable. So I set out to prove right. Emma believed in us when I couldn't even believe in. We'd been together 8 months when the paranoia started eating me alive. Every time she laughed at another guy's joke, every time she took more than an hour to text back, every time she chose study group over movie night with me, I heard Mom's voice, he deserves it more. Her being weird lately, Emma said one Thursday after school. We were sitting in her car outside my house, and she was looking at me with those concerned brown eyes that made me feel like maybe I mattered to someone. I should have told her about Christmas Eve. Should have explained why I checked her phone when she was in the bathroom. Why I got jealous when she talked about college plans that didn't include me. Why I accused her of flirting with Tyler from chemistry class when just borrowing notes. Instead I heard and said, I'm fine. Just stressed about graduation. Lies came easier than truth. Truth meant admitting I was broken. The real breaking point came at Jessica Morrison's graduation party. Emma was excited, had picked out this sundress that made her look like sunshine itself. I didn't want to go. Parties meant other guys looking at my girlfriend. Meant watching her be happy without needing me every second. But she begged, and when Emma begged, she got this little wrinkle between her eyebrows that made me cave every time. Just for an hour, she promised, squeezing my hand. Then we can go back to place and watch movies. The party was exactly what I feared. Emma laughing with people who weren't me. Emma accepting compliments from guys who definitely weren't just being friendly. Emma existing in a world where I wasn't the center of her universe. I was standing by the pool, watching her play some card game with Tyler and his friends when Madison Chen appeared beside me. Madison Chen, valedictorian, perfect skin. The kind of girl who'd never mother give away her Christmas present. Look miserable, she said, bumping my shoulder with hers. I'm fine. Emma's lucky to have someone who watches her like that. Something in her tone made me look at her instead of across the yard. Madison was smiling, but not the friendly smile she gave everyone else. This smile had an edge to it. Like what? Like she's about to disappear. My stomach twisted. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing bad, Madison said quickly. It's sweet. Intense but sweet. She doesn't even realize how much power she has over. Power. The word hit like a. She doesn't have power over me. Madison's laugh was soft, almost pitying. Come on Jake, look it. I've been staring at her for 20 minutes like she's about to run away with Tyler Peterson. She was right. I hated that she was right. Girls like Emma. Madison continued. They're used to being adored. Sometimes they don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. Emma's not like that. Maybe not. But are clearly terrified she's gonna leave. The words deep because they were true. I was terrified. Every single day. I waited for Emma to wake and realize she could do better than the boy whose own mother didn't love him enough to keep a Christmas present. Want to know a secret? Madison moved closer, close enough that I could smell her perfume. She's been talking to colleges in California. Did she mention that? My went cold what? USC UCLA. She asked me about the application process last week. Emma hadn't mentioned California. Not once. We talked about community college, about staying local, about building it together in Ohio. Unless she was building it, that didn't include me. Maybe she just likes to keep her options open. I said weakly. Madison shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe she's already planning her exit strategy. I looked across the yard again. Emma was dealing cards now, animated and beautiful and so alive. For the first time, I wondered if she was practicing for without me in it. No, Madison said, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. Want to make sure she knows what she's risking. I know ways to get her attention. What kind of ways? Madison's hand brushed against mine. Just for a second, just long enough to send electricity my arm. The kind that reminds her not just gonna wait around forever. I should have walked away. Should have gone to Emma, taken her hand, told her I loved her and asked about California, and worked through my insecurity like a normal person in a healthy relationship. Instead I looked at Madison Chen with her perfect smile and her calculated touch and I thought about power. About how Emma held all of it in our relationship. How she could leave for California and I'd have nothing. How she could choose anyone and I'd still be the kid standing in the kitchen watching someone else get his Christmas present. One dance, Madison said, like she could read my thoughts. Just to see if she's paying attention. One dance, just to balance the scales, just to remind Emma that other people found me worth wanting too. I took Madison's hand. The song was slow, some ballad I didn't recognize. Madison fit perfectly against me, her head on my shoulder, her body swaying in rhythm with mine. She smelled like vanilla and ambition. She's watching, Madison whispered into my neck. I didn't look, couldn't look. Because part of me hoped Emma was watching, hoped she was feeling a fraction of the panic I lived with every day. Hoped she was remembering that I was a choice she had to keep making. The other part of me knew I was crossing a line I couldn't uncross. Madison pulled back to look at me when the song ended, her hand still on my shoulders, her face tilted toward mine. Move, she said. That's when I finally looked across the yard. Emma was standing by the card table, staring at us with an expression I'd never seen on her face before. Not anger, not jealousy, disappointment. Pure crushing disappointment, like I'd just proven something she'd hoped wasn't true about me. She turned and walked toward the house. I should have followed her immediately, should have run after her and explained and begged forgiveness for the mistake I hadn't even finished making yet. Instead I stood there frozen, Madison's hand still on my shoulders, watching the best thing in my disappear through Jessica Morrison's sliding glass door. Oops, Madison said, but she didn't sound sorry at all. That night Emma broke with me in her car outside my house. I trusted, she said quietly, not even crying, just tired. I really truly trusted and couldn't even make it through one party without proving I was to do that. Her Emma please, it was just a dance. It didn't mean anything. That's what makes it worse, she said. Risked us for something that didn't even mean anything to Pine. She was right. I'd thrown away 8 months of love and trust and plans for the future because I was scared and broken, and couldn't believe anyone would choose me without being forced to. I'd become my worst fear, the kind of person who abandons someone who loves them. Just like Mom. 5 years later, I'm sitting in my empty apartment at 2 a.m., typing this confession because sleep won't come and the silence is driving me insane. Emma got married last month. I found out through Instagram, of course, because that's what do when I've burned every bridge in, scroll through social media watching other people live the happiness destroyed. She looked radiant. Not just beautiful, though she was that too in her simple white dress with wildflowers in her hair. She looked peaceful. Settled. Like someone who'd found a person who would never make her question whether she was loved. The guy she married, Tyler Peterson, from chemistry class. The one I accused her of flirting with when she was just borrowing notes. Turns out my paranoia was prophecy. Just not the way I thought. They didn't get together until 3 years after we broke. 3 years she spent single, focusing on school, building herself into the incredible woman she always had the potential to be. She got into USC after all, studied psychology, graduated summa laude. Meanwhile, I spent those same 3 years perfecting the art of self-destruction. After Emma I dated Megan from community college. Sweet girl studying to be a teacher. Loved kids, loved helping people, loved me despite all the red flags I couldn't stop waving. I cheated on her with a girl from my statistics class. Not because I wanted to. Because I was waiting for Megan to leave anyway, and I wanted to control the timing. Then came Rachel. Art student with paint under her fingernails and dreams bigger than our small town. She saw something in me I couldn't see in. I broke her heart by disappearing for 3 days with a coworker named Brittany. Came back expecting forgiveness and found my stuff in boxes on her porch. Sarah lasted 6 months. Jennifer lasted 3. Ashley made it almost a year, but she caught me messaging my ex-girlfriend from high school. Each time, I promised it would be different. Each time I convinced I was protecting from inevitable abandonment. Each time, I proved that the only constant in my was my ability to destroy anything good. The worst part, I started enjoying it. The power Madison had shown me that night at the party became like the moment in every relationship when I realized I could someone who loved me. When I could make them feel the confusion and betrayal I'd felt watching Mom hand my Christmas present to Derek. I told I was evening the score with the universe. Really I was just becoming the kind of person I'd once hated. The wake call came 2 years ago. I was dating Lisa, a nurse who worked night shifts and made the best chocolate chip cookies I'd ever tasted. She talked about wanting kids someday, about buying a house with a big backyard, about growing old together on a porch swing. I was already planning my exit strategy when she introduced me to her daughter. Chloe was 8 years old with Lisa's dark hair and her father's green eyes. Her dad had left when she was 4, and she'd been asking Lisa when she was going to get a forever dad. Instead of the parade of temporary boyfriends her mom had dated before me. Jake's gonna stay, Lisa told her daughter one Sunday afternoon while we were building a blanket fort in the living room. Aren't, Jake? Chloe looked at me with those trusting green eyes and I saw at 8 years old. Before Derek. Before I learned that love could be conditional. Yeah, I said, meaning it in that moment. I'm gonna stay. But even as I said the words I was texting another woman, Maria from the gym, making plans for after Lisa's next night shift. The night Chloe caught me was the night I realized I'd become a monster. Lisa was working a double shift at the hospital. I'd put Chloe to bed, read her 3 stories about princesses and dragons, her goodnight, and told her I'd be right downstairs if she needed anything. Then Maria showed we were on the couch, crossing lines I'd promised never to cross under Lisa's roof, when I heard footsteps on the stairs. Jake, I had a bad dream. Can check for monsters. Chloe appeared in the doorway in her purple pajamas, rubbing her eyes. For a split second she didn't understand what she was seeing. Her 8-year-old brain tried to make sense of why there was a strange woman where her mom should be, why I looked guilty and scared instead of safe and protective. Then understanding hit and her face crumpled. Said we're gonna stay, she whispered. I will never forget the sound of that little girl crying as I walked Maria to the door. Never forget the way Chloe ran upstairs and slammed her bedroom door. Never forget sitting outside her room for 2 hours, begging her to let me explain, listening to her sob into her pillow. When Lisa came home at 6 a.m., Chloe had already told her everything. She asked me if leaving meant she did something wrong. Lisa said, standing in her scrubs with exhaustion and heartbreak written all over her face. An 8-year-old child thinks she's the reason another father figure is abandoning her. That's when it hit me. I hadn't just Lisa. I'd a child who'd already been abandoned once. I'd taken her trust, her hope for a stable family, her belief that adults keep their promises, and I'd shattered it all for a few hours with someone whose last name I didn't even know. I'd become my mother. No, worse than my mother. At least she kept Derek around. I left that morning and never went back. Haven't dated anyone since. Can't trust not to destroy them. I work at a warehouse now, loading trucks and avoiding human connection. Live in a 1-bedroom apartment with no pictures on the walls and no plans for the future. My phone has exactly 3 contacts: my boss, my landlord, and a pizza place that delivers. Mom texts me sometimes. Usually around holidays, usually something generic like, hope well. I never respond. Derek graduated college last year, got engaged to his high school sweetheart, landed some corporate job that mom won't stop bragging about to anyone who'll listen. Sometimes I wonder if things would have been different if she'd kept that scarf. If she'd looked at her 17-year-old son struggling to prove his worth and chosen love over favoritism. But that's the thing about trauma. It doesn't excuse what do with it. It doesn't justify the choices make or the people or the children abandon. I can trace my betrayal back to that Christmas morning, but I can't hide behind it. Every relationship I destroyed, every heart I broke, every promise I failed to keep, those were my choices. Emma chose healing, I chose she built a. I burned mine down. She married her college sweetheart and probably makes him feel like the luckiest man alive every single day. I sit alone at 2 a.m., typing warnings on that no one will read, watching other people's happiness through phone screens. This is what happens when let childhood wounds fester instead of heal. This is what happens when choose revenge over recovery. When people when prove every fear have about instead of fighting to become better. Some mistakes echo through generations. Some choices ripple outward, damaging everyone they touch. Some people become exactly what they once feared most, and by the time they realize it, it's too late to take back the damage. I was 17 when my mother taught me that love could be taken away without warning. I spent the next decade teaching that lesson to every woman who was brave enough to love me back. Now I'm 25 and completely alone, and I finally understand the truth I should have learned at 17. The only person guaranteed to abandon is